Hey guys, I'm gonna talk a little bit about some natural remedies and chronic pain. I am actually a chronic pain patient, so I'm pretty experienced in medications and the suffering that chronic pain patients have. I have interstitial cystitis. It's a bladder disease. So I deal with a lot of nerve and burning pain there that radiates everywhere. I have endometriosis. I also got hit by a car when I was a kid, and so I have arthritic pain. My husband and I made a extract of wild lettuce recently. My sister has it growing all over her property right now. So we cooked it in water and cooked the water off to make a pure extract. I have a video up of that on my page. And I've been using it the past few days for menstrual cramps. And I have, with endometriosis and my pelvic pain issues, very painful menstrual cycles. It is nothing for me on the first day of my menstrual cycle to take 2 Percocet 10 and 800 milligrams of ibuprofen. That is how painful my menstrual cycles can be. I have actually thrown up from being in so much pain with my menstrual cycles. The uterus is a smooth muscle, and wild lettuce has been reported to have an antispasmodic activity on smooth muscles. It can also benefit our GI tract because it's smooth muscle. The paper that I come across that the doctor had written in 1812 about using it for whooping cough, he attributed its success in easing the spasmodic activity of the diaphragm. So I have found it to be very beneficial for my menstrual cycle. I have taken no ibuprofen, which in itself is a miracle because I can take 800 milligrams 3 times a day of ibuprofen during a menstrual cycle, and I hate that. Right? You know, it's like you worry about your stomach and your kidneys and your liver, because that is a lot of ibuprofen, and I have taken none. Now, I have continued to take my pain medication, which is Percocet. Now, this is not medical advice. Say that is just what I have done, and I have not noticed any issues there. I don't take any sleeping medications, any anti-anxiety medications, any antidepressants, any mood stabilizers. The only medication I take is Percocet. I have been taking about 5.5 milliliters of my extract every 4 hours and have seen it's definitely eased off my menstrual cramps, and it has definitely eased off the backache that accompanies my menstrual cycle. I have not noticed any side effects. The only thing I've noticed is the increased urination. So once again, I do not recommend using wild lettuce if you are on diuretics and even blood pressure medications, because it does have a little bit of a sedative effect, so it could further lower your heart rate. But in my case, I feel like the extra urination has honestly, I think, decreased my bloating. I've just not felt as bloated either. So it's like, for me, I feel like at this point, there's no going back. I will probably use wild lettuce during my menstrual cycles going forward, because as I said, I have not had to use ibuprofen at all. I feel like it's, and like I said, it's definitely helped the back pain as well. I'm trying to think, do I think it works better than ibuprofen? I do. I do think it works, number one, because it doesn't damage our stomachs or our GI tract like ibuprofen does. So anytime we can use something natural that works without the side effects, I'm in. So when dealing with chronic pain, inflammation is our enemy. And we need to work to fight the inflammation. Wild lettuce helps fight inflammation. My husband has had 3 spinal surgeries, and when he uses the lettuce, he says that it helps with the inflammation and the muscle spasticity. So, like I said, and it's kind of interesting, I guess, now that I'm talking about this with that thing that happened at the hospital in, I think it was Oklahoma, where the man just lost his mind over not having his pain treated. Chronic pain patients often commit suicide. So honestly, it's not surprising that there would be I don't even think I want to say that word, type behavior as well. Chronic pain patients can literally lose their minds because they're suffering that bad. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. And the medical community, it's just, they've thrown opioids at it all these years, and look at where we are now. At one point in time, I was on a fentanyl patch. I was on 50 micrograms every 48 hours. So I was on the fentanyl patch. I was taking 30 milligrams of roxicodone in the morning and 10 milligram Percocets throughout the day. And what was so crazy about being on all that medication is I was still in pain, still hurting. When, I have flare-ups, it's like nothing would touch it. So one day I thought to myself, these people are going to kill me. Like I'm going to end up with a colostomy bag or an obstructed bowel, something. And that this was not the route that I wanted to take, and was able to wean myself off of most of those medications with the exception of the Percocet. And I would love to not be taking that either. So I'm working on that. And luckily, I had the wisdom and the knowledge to wean myself down off of those medications, because with laws and everything that's come down through the opioid crisis, I would have probably been in some bad shape. And I know that some people are. And being in healthcare, it's like I think we went from one extreme to another as far as the opioids go, pain medication goes. Trump come in and they cut back. They're like holding the pharmaceutical companies, accountable. They're being sued, just blah, 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 blah. Well, they went from that. I hope the wind doesn't blow my thing over. So they go from that to an 80-year-old lady with osteoarthritis can't even get a pain pill. So we've gone from one extreme to the other. So I definitely think we've got to have something fixed there, because people are in pain and people do need their pain managed, or some crazy things can happen. The thing with opioids and chronic pain is they act in one way. They act on the central nervous system. And eventually we build up a tolerance to that medication to where, like I said, really doesn't even work. Opioids do nothing to fight inflammation. And as I'd said earlier in this video, fighting inflammation is a huge factor in fighting chronic pain. I have found that vitamin D has been beneficial for me. In the winter I take supplements, but during the day I get out in the sun. Shorts and a tank top, an hour out in the sun is going to produce about 20,000 units of vitamin D, guys. And if you take a multivitamin, how much vitamin D is in it? 400 international units? Nothing compared to what our bodies would produce naturally. Vitamin D fights inflammation. Vitamin C helps our immune system function. Vitamin D helps protect us from chronic disease. These people have convinced us the sun is our enemy. If you have not been out in the sun all winter, and then you go out and bake in it for 5 hours at the beach on your vacation, it's common sense. It's common sense. You kind of build your body up to it, your skin, your melanin up to it. So vitamin D is beneficial for me in chronic pain. Melatonin is beneficial for chronic pain. Melatonin helps decrease inflammation. Also, when we are in the sun, it helps produce melatonin at night. You guys ever notice if you're out in the sun all day how you sleep like a log at night? It's because our bodies are producing more melatonin. And as a society, we are melatonin deficient. In fact, it is speculated that this contributes to a lot of chronic disease in our society. Turmeric root with black pepper is a great herb for fighting inflammation. I love it for arthritic pain. I don't mess around and take 100, 200 grams. I've bought some capsules, 1,500 milligrams. So I have taken 1,500 milligrams 3 times a day with turmeric. Back to the melatonin. There's actually a study on interstitial cystitis. Well, no, I think it's bladder pain and melatonin. I'll see if I can't pull it up and clip it in this video on how it's thought to work and how it helps. Melatonin for my interstitial cystitis has been amazing. I was on gabapentin at one point in time. When I started taking melatonin, I didn't have to take gabapentin. I feel like melatonin works on that nerve burning pain, is what I feel like the melatonin helps with. The turmeric, like I said, is great for arthritic pain. Frankincense is another big anti-inflammatory and helps. It's documented to help with arthritic type pain. CBD oil works good in chronic pain. I don't mess around. I take at least a 1,000 milligram bottle, and I prefer a 2,000 milligram bottle. 500 milligrams does not really do a lot for me. When we're dealing with, chronic pain, we do need, or any other, diseases that CBD could benefit, we need to use the higher doses. Things that can help kind of relax us, because a lot of times when you're in chronic pain, your body's just like, it's so tense, right? And that's another reason it's like your pain medication doesn't work, because you're just so tensed up. You need something to kind of relax those muscles a little bit. Wild lettuce, okay. Holy basil kind of has a relaxing, calming effect. Ashwagandha has a relaxing, calming effect. Lemon balm has a relaxing, calming effect. So these are some things that could help relax our muscles a little bit and help us in fighting chronic pain as well. Diet is another factor in chronic pain. In today's society, we get no nutrition. You run to the McDonald's or the Taco Bell and we're eating crap, guys. So we need to try to be eating healthy and eating anti-inflammatory foods. Also, pay attention to your body. There's certain things, like for me, a Coke. A Coke can set my bladder off just like that. Caramel coloring, I have attributed to setting my bladder off. So if we pay attention to our bodies when we're eating and drinking things, but just pay attention and see if you don't feel like something flares you up. You know, your body is gonna let you know what it doesn't like. Exercise is good for chronic pain. Exercise stimulates those natural endorphins in our brain. It also helps strengthen our muscles. And it's if you don't use it, you lose it, you know? So use it the best that you can. Even if there's like, you know, if back pain, you can't use your back so much, you know, work your arms out. You know, walking is great exercise. That also gets you out in the sun, out in the fresh air, and that's just beneficial to our health in so many ways. Also, our sleep cycles. I have personally noticed that if my circadian rhythm is thrown out of whack, I flare up. It's like if I get up earlier than what I'm typically used to, or don't get those so many hours of sleep that I need, I flare up. So proper rest is good for important for pain management as well. And it's funny to me that doctors don't discuss this stuff with you. And especially when they were passing out the opioids like candy. It's just, here you go. Here you go. Oh, that's not helping anymore? Let me increase that. Let's put you on this too. You know, it's not the best method in managing chronic pain. And a lot of times then we're medically, you know, dependent on these medications. So, and a lot of times, you know, big pharma, it's like, you know, the opium plants, they isolate these compounds that they like, put their twist on them, manufacture them, and completely disregard all of the other chemical compounds that come in these plants. And I'm thinking like this with the wild lettuce, for example, because, you know, it's supposed to, it helps pain, and it's also good for our GI tract. It helps our GI tract because it's the plant, it's the whole plant with all of its compounds. And we're not just isolating one thing, because they balance, it balances out in plant medicine. So I guess that wraps this up. Like I was just, the whole kind of point of this is the wild lettuce extract has benefited me greatly with my menstrual cycle. I definitely foresee myself using it from here on out. I know that I've probably forgotten, you know, some other herbs and plants that help with pain and inflammation, but you know, that could give you a start. So I hope this helps somebody. So like I said, you know, work on fighting the inflammation.